Hello, and welcome to today's Facecast. Today we're way back into the Old Testament to the book of Lamentations. That's a big title. What does it mean? What are Lamentations all about? Well, to lament over something is to be sorry about it, to cry out in anguish about it. To lament often meant to cry literally in pain and suffering because of something. So Lamentations is a book which contains those outpourings, those cryings out by the Jewish people of old. Why were they crying out? Because their temple and their whole way of life had been ransacked and destroyed by the Babylonian Empire. And they were in a time of great lament and mourning. So they called out to God. And Lamentations is a set of 5 poems, part of the poetical part of the Bible, which shows this great desolation that they were feeling. And they were searching for something to hold on to. Their lives had been all but destroyed, and they needed something to keep them going. Now, Christian folk down the ages have felt like this at many times because of what's happened. Not only is it the same for Christian folk, but for many different groups of folk have faced all kinds of trials and persecution. One has only got to go back to the Second World War when we think about the Holocaust and the continuing suffering of the Jewish people. Even more recent to that, in the Bosnia war and situation, we had all sorts of persecution of people. In Iraq and Iran, there's been persecution from one group to another. So people often need groups of people to cry out in lament about what's happening to them. But within Lamentations, there's also a note, a small soupçon of hope for people. We find it here when we look at Lamentations chapter 3 verse 25, which says, "The Lord is good to those whose hope is in him, to the one who seeks him." So they're crying out to God, but they also recognize in this poem, the Lord is good to those who hope in him. He does help us. He is with us. He does understand what we're going through, because he himself goes through it in the future from Lamentations' point of view. When Jesus goes to die on the cross, he goes through it with us each day when we face trouble and persecution. The Lord is good to those whose hope is in him, to the one who seeks him. How do we seek God? We might read the scriptures, the Bible. That's one way of seeking God. We might draw close to God by prayer. We might also seek God when we come together to worship with other people, and therefore seeking God in our fellowship with other Christian people. All of these ways are part of the pattern that we adopt as Christian folk in order to seek God, to chase after him, to find out from him, to be at his side, to be with him. If we're those kind of people pursuing God with our lives, that he might be part of our lives, then he will recognize that, and he will help us along the way. That's the deal. We have to look for him, look out for him, seek him, follow his ways, and he in turn will look out for us. Does that mean we're going to be free from difficulty and persecution? No, unfortunately it doesn't. But it does mean, ultimately, our place in heaven is guaranteed, because we're people of the Lord your God. We are followers of Jesus, his son. That should be a comfort to all of us, no matter how much we feel we are lamenting because of what's happening in this life. Lamentations, have a good read through, soak it in. It's good for the soul. See you soon.